What's up everyone, my name is Mike and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, the Uncommon. I purchased two of them. I'm going to get into why I purchased them, my game plan for purchasing them, and when I'm going to exit from them. Let's get into it. So in the previous video, I talked about selling my Marvel Mighties. After 2 months, they'd gone up at a significant rate to which I thought it was a good time to sell out of them. Ever since then, it seems that I sold at the high. I could get back into them at as much as 25% to 50% what I actually sold them for. So it seems like it's a good decision right now. I could always get right back into them and still have made some sort of profit on them. Now with that excess gems that I had from those purchases, as well as gems that I've already purchased in advance of drops and being able to get in on some gem squeezes, I had some leftovers that I wanted to allocate to some certain collectibles. Now there's many collectibles that I want to get into, and ultimately I think we're really early on Veve, so I think every collectible is going to see a significant rise over time. This could be many years out. In the short term, we might see a fall in prices, which would be a good time to get in, as perhaps we see a decline in the economy, which means less people wanting to get into these NFTs and these collectibles and wanting to save their money in case of emergencies. But even if that's the case, over the long term, and long term being 1, 2, 3 years, we're going to see all of these collectibles increase in price. At least that's my thought, that's my opinion. This is not financial advice, this is just my theory. So ultimately, I don't think it matters which collectible you're in and which collectible you want to get into. I think we're going to see a rise in price throughout all of these collectibles, but I definitely think that some collectibles are going to rise more than others. I also think that there's going to be more fluctuation between certain collectibles that allows you to get in low, sell high, and then purchase different collectibles with the profits that you make from that. So when I purchased these, this was January 21st and January 22nd that I saw the gem squeeze coming, and I should have waited actually a little bit longer because this was around the time that the Batman vs. Killer Croc was coming out, and I had some gems left over. I saw the gem squeeze coming and I felt the need to purchase something with that. And there's so many different collectibles that I want to add to my vault, and it's just a matter of time. But there's a certain collectible that I wanted to get in because I had a very specific game plan with it. And this is that Ben Reilly Spider-Man, the uncommon version of them. And I had enough gems saved up to purchase 2 of these. And ultimately, really what I wanted to purchase was a Spider-Man, and it was between this or the common or uncommon Spider-Man first appearance. And even though the Ben Reilly is a first appearance as well, it's still a different character, being the Ben Reilly Spider-Man versus the Spider-Man. And the reason why I didn't go with the Peter Parker Spider-Man and I went with the Ben Reilly Spider-Man is for 2 reasons. The first one being the editions. There's definitely fewer editions of the Ben Reilly Spider-Man versus the Spider-Man common. Now as I look into it, there's 5,384 editions of the uncommon Ben Reilly Spider-Man. However, the Peter Parker first appearance Spider-Man common has 32,000 editions of them, and the uncommon has 16,000. So the Ben Reilly Spider-Man first appearance still in the uncommon form has about 1/3 less editions than the uncommon Peter Parker Spider-Man's first appearance. And even though the uncommon Spider-Man first appearance is trading at a similar price to the uncommon Ben Reilly Spider-Man, I feel like if there's a catalyst for the Ben Reilly Spider-Man to appeal to a larger audience, that demand is going to be there, and it's going to drive up the price of that uncommon Ben Reilly Spider-Man, especially due to the lack of editions in it. Now it's also interesting to note that the common Peter Parker Spider-Man first appearance actually sells at a higher price than the uncommon Peter Parker Spider-Man first appearance. And we see that with a lot of different collectibles, that the common is actually more expensive than the uncommon. Quite specifically when there's different characters in a series, because the common character tends to be the most popular, the uncommon a little bit less popular, and just because there's more common editions doesn't mean that the demand is there to fulfill that, causing that price of the common to go up compared to the uncommon. But in this case, it's the same character. And the reason why I think this is, especially in this Spider-Man, is that the uncommon Spider-Man first appearance, the Peter Parker version, is in a similar pose to the ultra rare. The only difference being that the ultra rare is animated. And that's similar to the rare and the secret rare in this same edition. Same pose, it's just that the secret rare is animated. The difference being with the common is that it's an entirely unique pose to those editions. And so since it's an entirely different pose compared to the rest of the editions in that series, I think the demand is there for that. It's also the pose that you see when you open up the Veve app and you see the Spider-Man on the phone in that pose. So perhaps that adds to the value of it as well. So coming back to that Ben Reilly Spider-Man, that's why I thought it was worthwhile to purchase 2 of these instead of going with the Peter Parker first appearance Spider-Man. 1, it's still first appearance, and 2, the editions are really low even compared to the uncommon. So all we really need with this Ben Reilly Spider-Man is a catalyst for it to explode in price. And for that, we need the demand for the character to go up. So what can cause that demand for the character to go up? Well, an appearance in a theatrical release really will get to a larger audience and cause a larger audience to maybe be more interested in the character and wanting to collect collectibles of that character. And this leads me to the movie Across the Spider-Verse, which is going to be coming out in October. And already we know that this is a popular movie, a popular franchise that is going to continue to go on, as we have Across the Spider-Verse, and then there's going to be immediately another movie coming out, a part 2 of it. And with the popularity of Into the Spider-Verse, I'm sure we'll see that popularity continue to grow with this animated series. And we know also with these movies that we're going to see different variants of Spider-Man, as we've already seen with the first movie. So what new Spider-Mans are we going to see in this movie, and especially the part 2 of this movie? Well, some people are theorizing Ben Reilly might be one of those Spider-Men. And as more and more news comes out closer to that October release date, I'm sure we'll start to see more people theorizing that Ben Reilly might be that Spider-Man, along with many other Spider-Man. So as we get closer to that movie, I'm sure more people will be interested in who is this Ben Reilly Spider-Man, do their research, and then we'll see that popularity of that character start to increase, even if he isn't even in the movie. Which comes down to, if he is in that movie, we'll definitely see the demand of that character increase, and we'll see people wanting to get more editions, and we'll see people wanting to collect him. And since the collectibles of him in this series are low, being in that 5,000 range, the supply is low, but the demand is going to be high. And if we see the supply stay the same, or just a few more people wanting to exit out of their Ben Reilly editions, but we see that demand start to increase, that's where we'll see the price really skyrocket. So perhaps I'm really early on getting this Ben Reilly Spider-Man, because it seems like things move much faster in the NFT space and people want to realize their profits as soon as possible. But I just felt with this gem squeeze that perhaps I was getting it at a good deal. But since then, it has gone down from my purchase price. So as I said, January 21st, I've purchased the first one at 775 gems. And then the next day it fell even further, so I thought I would pick up another one, January 22nd, for 658 gems. Today it's sitting around 600 gems as the floor price on the market. So even though I'm already down on my position on it, I think in the long term this is really going to go up a lot more than it already is. So I'm not worried, and I'm not selling out of my positions. Even if it goes down further, I might even pick up another one. And this is the importance of setting a game plan for the collectible. When you purchase them, why you purchase them, and what you're going to do in the future with that collectible. It could be a collectible like my Iron Man that I'm just going to hold on to for the long term, because I have no intention of selling my Iron Man. But with a character like Ben Reilly Spider-Man, this is something that I see going up in demand in the very short term. I have an 8-month plan for this character, and I like Spider-Man, so I'm happy to have Ben Reilly, even if it doesn't go up in value. So perhaps I keep one of them, I sell one of them, and maybe I break even, maybe I lose a little, but I'm happy to still have that Ben Reilly Spider-Man in my collection. So ultimately, this is a 6 to 8 month bet that I'm making, and I'm sure as we get closer to that date of the movie release, we're going to see that character's demand start to increase as we see his name more and more in the news in predicting which Spider-Mans will be in this new movie. So even then I might exit, or I just might hold on to them and continue that bet that he'll show up in the movie and then exit my position after then. But I've got that game plan in mind. I'm not worried if the price continues to drop on them, and I'm not worried about selling out of my position on this. I'd love to know your thoughts on this, what you think about my plan, about my strategy. Do you have a Ben Reilly Spider-Man in your vault? What is your plan with him? And what is your plan with other collectibles if you have a similar theory to mine? Leave it in the comment section below. Like this video if it helped you at any point in time, and thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel for